Well, I decided to get a little bit creative here in the middle of the week. I was just going to give you another recipe of the Fast and the Furious next week, but I couldn't sleep last night, and I had to think about making something on the fly. Now, on the fly is an urban vernacular that means that you're doing something at the spur of the moment, you're running and scurrying and doing something else, but I've got something for you for midweek on the freaking fly, and you're going to love it. Now, what it is, I'm going to make my own marinara sauce. I have some gemelli pasta, and I also have some chicken that I'm going to blacken, but not in blackening seasoning. It's going to be just like salt and pepper and stuff like that, the pasta, and I've got a little surprise I'm going to throw on the top of it, so you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Let's go with the marinara sauce. Number one, you can buy marinara sauce, but why? It's easy to make. You make your own. So here's what we're going to do. Barbara, come on in, baby. Okay. I've got this cast iron skillet, and I want to talk more about cast iron skillets in a minute here, but I'm going to throw some onions in here. And I've coated the bottom with extra virgin olive oil, okay? And then I'm going to throw in some garlic. Now, you don't want garlic powder for this. Definitely don't want garlic powder for a sauce. Not this kind of sauce. You want this stuff to do its job in here. So I'm going to let that sit for a while. While that's sitting, I also just want to mention about cast iron skillets. Now, this particular cast iron skillet has been in Barbara's family for over 50, 60 years, Barbara? It was her mother's, Thelma. The cast iron skillet for me is a foundation of cooking in any kitchen. Number one, it's a great condenser of heat, and it cooks things very evenly. And when this thing is cooked a lot and you start to season it, boy, does it bring out the flavors in food. So if you're doing like what this is here, this is more of a Dutch oven type of cast iron skillet. Come down to this. And you can see right now, the onions and the garlic are simmering in this extra virgin olive oil, okay? All right, I'm gonna throw in right now a little bit of sea salt, okay? We're just gonna season the onions and the garlic up a little bit, okay? You got that. And then I'm gonna throw some black pepper in here, all right? To give it just a little bit of a kick. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. This is on the fly, baby. On the freaking fly. I'm gonna stir that up a little bit. In about, I don't know, maybe 60 seconds or so, I'm gonna throw in my next ingredient. Now let me explain something about sauces. I'm going to do a series on this too. Of course, like Fast and Furious on the fly sauce. The sauce is the boss. Now you can use sauce for almost anything. There's a friend of mine that owned a restaurant in Glen Cove, and he specialized in seafoods that had nothing but sauce on them. All sorts of whole fish, grilled fish, fillets. It had different kinds of sauce on it. Marinara sauce, puttanesca sauce, different kinds of things that really gave flavor to fish. And he coupled that with pastas and different vegetables, salads and stuff. Fantastic, off the chart. And I'd like to say he's probably doing it on the fly himself. Anyway, look at this. We're about ready to put in right now my tomato sauce. Now what I've done here, you see this blender here. What I got a 28 ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes from Italy. Best thing to do. And I just put them in the blender, okay, just blended it up and throwing it into this pot, all right? I'm stirring this up. Look at this, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do, you can add any kind of spice, but I'm putting here some basil leaf, okay, and adding that in. All right, and I'm going to stir that in to this. Now, some people like to use oregano, which is fine. You know, oregano or basil. I would suggest not to use both. Most of the chefs I know from Italy, and I've cooked with a few of them, they don't use both. It's either or. All right. So you put that in there, and you stir the basil in. That's what I'm using now. Now, a lot of times in marinara sauce, you go to a restaurant, or when you are cooking at home and you have the tomatoes in there, unless they're of a certain kind, it's not a bitter taste, But sometimes you go and you put like marinara sauce or pizza sauce or whatever on pizzas, it has a little sweet taste. Well, what do? There are two things in restaurants that make food taste great. Of course, a lot of salt, but also sugar. That adds something to it. So I'm not going to use sugar. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of honey in here. So Barbara, if you just come down here, I'm just going to pour a little honey in. And that kind of takes the edge off of it. All right? Now, I'm going to stir this up. And it's cooking. I'm going to turn the flame up a little bit here. And I'm going to cover it in a second. All right? Now, this is a fast version of this. But let me tell you something. This is great. Now, the one thing I want to stress to everybody is there's no such thing as the best of anything. These are the sauces, these are the herbs that I'm using in here. It's what you like. You see all these cookbooks over here, Barbara? I want to show these cookbooks. I have a ton of them, and I have more. All of these recipes came from people. They didn't just appear out of the sky. They came up with something, and it became a recipe. That's all this is. So what I'm trying to get you folks to do is, recipes are just not the holy grail of anything. What I'm trying to get everybody to do is to learn how to do their own thing. What works for you? What's good for you? What's good for the people that you love and you want to, serve and you want to feed. So you might want a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that. And that's why I didn't, stress, okay, use 2 tablespoons of this, whatever. I'm giving you the ingredients. You season to taste. That's all you do. Now, let's look at this marinara sauce. This is unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. All right? As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to cover that for a minute. Just for a minute. Hold that right there, Bob. I'm going to put the top over this, okay? And just let that set for a minute. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is this. Right now, I'm going to blacken some chicken. And I've also got my patented cast iron skillet. It's been around for about 20 years now. It's fully seasoned. You can see it's black and dark. And seasoned basically means that you always, after you get through cooking with it, you usually don't use a lot of soap or anything. You just wash it out with water, and the oils just go in there, and they just add something to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put chicken breast in here. But you're going to notice something very different here. I'm throwing the chicken breast in, all right? But I'm not putting any seasoning on it right now, okay? It's just going in there plain without seasoning, okay? Now the chicken breast cooks up pretty quickly. Now, once that's in, now I'm gonna add my spices. This is not about seasoning anything ahead of time. Believe me, sometimes when you season stuff, you marinate it overnight, that's good. You don't want to do it this way. This is the whole enchilada. Check this out. Okay, so I'm going to put some garlic powder. I can use garlic powder on this, okay? I use whole garlic for, my sauce. That's what you want. I'm going to throw a little oregano on here. Okay? All right. There you go. I'm going to throw some parsley on this bad boy. Okay, parsley, I'm telling you, it's a great thing to use. And then I'm just going to put just a little bit of sea salt on this. All right? Okay. Right here, you can smell it now. I tell you, that's a kicking chicken. I'm not talking about that Red Rooster, that liquor they used to serve out there in the Midwest. And what you do, you turn it up and you toss it. And this is kind of blackened. You see how quickly it cooks? Okay? And you just toss this stuff. Okay? So the seasoning, is on the outside, but when you're doing a quick cook like this, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. Or a heck of a lot of sense. Forgive me, Christians. All right. So that's cooking up right now. Let's go back over here. And I have it turned up to high right now. Okay, I have a Viking stove, and the Viking stoves, the professional stoves, usually produce a lot of higher heat, so things cook a lot quicker. But a regular stove just does fine. Let's check out the sauce right now. Lord have mercy. Look at that sauce. Barbara, how's it smell? Delicious? Smells good? It smells delicious? Or it smells good?
A little bit of both.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, look at this. Look at that. Okay, so you got your herbs in there. Now here's something else that you want to do. When you're cooking quick, I like dry herbs. But if you're really cooking to impress, what you want to do is cook with fresh herbs. Now, fresh herbs are very cheap. You can buy your basil, your oregano, and stuff like that. And if you go to like any store, like a nursery, or maybe even, I don't know if they sell them at Bed Bath & Beyond, you can buy your herbs, get them, in soil or plant, put them on your kitchen countertop where there's sun, and just take it off. Now, the reason why this is good is because if you're really trying to entice somebody, let's forget about going out to restaurants. See, you can cook better than any restaurant if you cook at home. And brothers, let me tell you, if you want to impress a woman, don't take her out to a restaurant. Cook for her. How do you think I got Barbara? Oh, shoot, I corralled her in just with a mackerel dish. She doesn't even like mackerel. She didn't know what it was. She just went crazy. And let me tell you something. When you're cooking for women and you got a good meal, they're not going to want to leave your house. You should start making them pay rent. That's what you got to do because they ain't going to leave. I'm telling you, but they say, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It works just that way for women. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I just want to taste a little bit of this. What's wrong? No, Bob, I got it, baby. She thinks I'm going to burn my lips off.
Put it back in.
Why not put it back in?
You put it in your mouth.
I put it in my mouth, but the heat, it was just me and you, baby. I just double dip with this bad boy. Come here, look, come here, show, look, show. Now that's perfect for me. It's just the right texture, just enough honey in there, but once again, you season to taste. You might want a little bit more, you might want a little bit less, okay? The marinara sauce is ready, baby. I'm gonna turn this off. Now, we're gonna go back to the chicken. Okay, the chicken is almost, look at that. See how it's browning now? That's how you want this bad boy. Okay? There you go. Oh, my Lord. We got some chicken breast up in here. All right? This is almost ready. Almost ready, guys. We're ready for the parquet. Now, again, I must insist, there are certain other seasonings that you can use on this, but these are the ones I'm choosing for this particular recipe. Whatever turns you on. And again, sometimes it's hit or miss, but most of the time you're going to hit. And you're never going to learn to do anything if you don't try something different. Use a cookbook, and then variations on your own theme for the recipes you find in the cookbook. Very simple. All right. Now, we've just done this for a few minutes. This meal is about ready. This is what I call ready for freaking Freddy. All right? Now we got this. Okay, this is done. Turn it off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, voila. We're going to plate this dish. All right? So here we go. We'll put this over here. The first thing I'm going to do, I've already cooked this pasta. What I did was, I used a gemelli pasta. Barbara, show them here. Come here. Now, gemelli pasta is a very robust pasta. It takes a little bit longer to cook, but it really absorbs the flavors of your dish, and I like it. Obviously, if you're doing, fresh pasta, it just takes a couple of minutes. But this took about maybe 12 to 13 minutes. And what I do, sometimes you can do pasta like this, and you can serve it fresh out of boiling water al dente. But what I do, I just drain out the water, and just to keep it moist and to keep the pasta from sticking, I put extra virgin olive oil on there. As you see, I use that for everything, okay? So that's what I use on this. You can use butter, but extra virgin olive oil or any kind of olive oil is healthier, I think, than butter, unless you're using the plant-based butters. I haven't tried those yet, folks. But anyway, here we go. All right, everything is off right now. So I'm going to take this plate. Lord have mercy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pasta on here. All right. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we got the pasta on. Now we're going to throw the marinara sauce on this. Now, you can also put mushrooms in this, But I'm not putting mushrooms in this on this particular recipe, and you'll see why in a minute. But look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Outstanding. Better than anything you can buy from the store. Then, I'm going to sprinkle on some fresh Parmesan cheese. Okay? As much or as little as you like. That I love. Okay? Now you can use Pecorino Romano cheese. I like Parmesan. I kind of like both, but for this. Now, here's my surprise. Remember my sauteed garlic mushrooms? Hey! Voila! I'm going to throw those over, guess what? The chicken, which is blackened, it's tender, it is a son of a gun. And I'm going to put the mushrooms over that. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a stone cold mother. Barbara's salivating. Lord have mercy. Oh, and by the way, also with these mushrooms, what I forgot to tell you last time was when I did the sauteed garlic mushrooms, just sprinkle a little thyme in there. Okay? Thyme. Now, what you did before, don't panic, don't have a heart attack now. Those were good. They're great. But a little thyme also helps it out. So, this is what you tell your date when they come over. And this is what I tell Barbara all the time after I make a meal. And she's rolling her eyes, but she knows it's true. Who's your daddy? After you taste a little bit of this, whatever this, who is your daddy? Who's your daddy, Barbara?
I refuse to answer.
Yeah, she refuses to answer now. But once she gets this dish with something to drink, she knows who her daddy is. Here we go. Once again, baby, throw it on there. Gemelli pasta with a nice marinara homemade sauce, blackened chicken breast with sauteed garlic mushrooms on there. Who is your daddy? I'm out.